Welcome in, friends, to the Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal opinions. Each and every day from the Impact Power Sports studio, Impact Power Sports. You can find them in Rockford, Michigan, or online at impactpowersportsmi.com. Great place to pick up a Yamaha golf cart or perhaps an ATV, UTV, motorcycle, e-bike, go-kart. Oh, my God. List goes on and on. They got a full service department. And find out more information at impactpowersportsmi.com. Got a number of things to talk about today. I'm going in like 5 different directions. But first and foremost, I got into the YMCA yesterday. And I said, yeah, I'm going to go catch a swim. And I got my thing done. I'm not going to bore you with all those details. All you need to know is that it dawned on me that yesterday when I walked into the YMCA that, you know how I like to wear the same hoodie for a few days in a row like I am right now? And this is the one that my daughter bought me for Christmas. It says, bring back bullying. Well, I would say that if I had remembered, I would have said, oh, I got to take this off. I don't want to be walking through the YMCA with this on, but that's exactly where I was. And I noticed it was quite a attention grabber. And, I mean, this is a nice place. You got kids that are there that probably are bullied. You know, I'm walking by the area where the kids have, like, the after-school program. They come, like, maybe only one parent or maybe they are actually bullied. I'm wearing gear that says, fuck you. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is bad. I don't, you know, I might wear this to the grocery store, but the YMCA, that is not the place where you want to be wearing this. So I felt instantly bad. And I like ducked into a corner to get it off as quickly, not my dick, to get the sweatshirt off as quickly as possible. And then continued on my day. Because I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the guy. I mean, I want to wear it, but at the same time, I've got some discretion. You know? Badger says, great WATB yesterday, easy. And, sorry, Alan just cracked a joke that made me laugh. I'm on Who Are These Broadcasts yesterday, and we decided we were going to try to reel in Kevin Brennan, and it completely worked. It worked flawlessly. He's another live streamer. And nobody watches our show. But yesterday, everybody watched our show. I mean, relatively speaking. And we make money by people give you a few bucks and they send you a super chat, is what it's known as. It's a way to give tips. And that's the only way that show generates any type of income for us. And typically, we'll get $10 between us, or I should say $20 between us, $30 between us. If we're lucky, $40 between us. And it all kind of boiled over. I don't want to give you all the details in the backstory because it's fucking boring. But my partner, Christian, the week earlier raged out at some guy who is a pal of Kevin Brennan's on another show, the Hughesy Show. And then on our show last week, we reviewed Christian's rage out, which then that tipped Kevin Brennan off that his pal, Stevie Lou, the one that Christian was raging at, he then made fun of our show. So then all this week we were like, hey, maybe we'll get Kevin to, what they do is they call it stream sniping. So we're doing our show yesterday, and our goal was to get Kevin to take the feed of our show and then make fun of us while we're doing our show. And he did. And that's a very, very good thing because it introduces us to new people. Whether they love us or hate us, that doesn't matter. And so we did that show, and we generated $375 in these tips, which is, I mean, that's probably more than what we get in a whole year on this show. So that was awesome. And now this Stevie Lou character is, hold on a second. Darla, quit. Hey. The Stevie Lou guy is saying to Kevin, he's kind of like Kevin's assistant. He's like, yeah, you got to send this Eric Zane the link to our show today so that he can be on. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, that would be awesome. Now I want to be totally transparent with you. I like these people. They make me laugh. And nothing in any of this is serious. I don't believe in, there's no hatred in my heart for any of these people. Nick says, I'm happy for you, but what kind of losers spend money tipping random live streamers? Well, I think what they do is they when they do that, then their comments are shown on the screen. So it's not like they're just sitting there saying, oh, you did a good job, here's some money. I guess they could do that. I don't know. But so Kevin is focusing on like my YouTube channel and just ripping me a new asshole. And I'm like, I am here for that. That is really, really good because you look at some of my YouTube streams and like 4 people watch, 5 people watch. I'm not going to tell them anything about how I do what I do. I don't need to. It's that much more hilarious to me that he then would give any time of day to a guy on YouTube gets 4 people watching his show. That's fantastic. Screen just blipped out on me. I hope I didn't just lose the stream. I got to get more coffee before I tell you about the legal proceedings that I'm involved in. Totally different topic. This just unfolded yesterday. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. Yesterday, while that was all unfolding, it's the back half of the day, probably like 4 or 5 o'clock. My doorbell rings, and I actually was kind of right there when it rang, and the dogs go nuts. And I look, and looks to be a older dude there. I'm like, okay, what's up with this? I open up the door. I kind of squeeze out because there's 3 dogs trying to get to him. And he immediately seems very warm and pleasant. He says, hey, you've been served. I go, oh, okay. For what? He goes, I don't know. And I don't have it here. There was a check for $56 and a subpoena ordered to appear and or produce. And it says the case number and the judge. And I don't know anything about this. Tyler says, didn't he say Patreon would be the first to know? Well, yeah, but I'm not going to give you all the details here. Okay? Yesterday on the Patreon, I said something is going on, and you won't know about it until I tell you on Patreon, which is 100% true. Like, I'm not going to tell you everything here. In fact, I'm not even going to tell you anything on today's Patreon until this is in the rearview mirror. I don't even know what this is about. In fact, it happened yesterday just before the Patreon. So that's why I came to you and said, hey, you won't believe this. Something's going on. You won't know about it until the specifics of it until I tell you on the Patreon. So I'm not going to get ultra specific here. So don't freak out just because I'm telling the free audience. I'm not really telling tales out of school here. But I guess, and I had to look up what this even meant. I thought like I got sued or something, but no, I didn't get sued because I immediately called the Italian, and the Italian says, okay, hang on, let me get somebody on the line here who specializes in this. But there are two local hillbillies that are fighting. You got Hillbilly Team A and Hillbilly Team B. I'm not going to tell you who these people are. But one hillbilly seems to think that I need to be ordered to appear at the time and place stated below. And I guess it's on Microsoft Teams next Thursday at 9 a.m. So also one of the reasons why I'm telling you this is because I will probably be late on Thursday's show next week. This is not that informative, but it says I have to testify at deposition. The deposition will be visually recorded, and that is all the information I have. But I flip it over, and the person requesting this is someone I do not know who signed it. And it looks like the person who signed it has cerebral palsy, who I would assume, in fact, it's this person who signed it is either a judge or a clerk or an attorney. Okay, so I guess I have to click on this link here, and then I talked to the Italian. He goes, yeah, they want to ask you questions. I'm like, all right, I can answer questions. What about you? He goes, oh, I'll be there. And I go, well, it's about damn time you did something. I pay you every month. And then there's a separate one between these two hillbillies. And in this one, I have to actually be there at the physical court for, and I think you'll do it in like a conference room, sit across from each other and answer questions. This is the one where you like swear under oath. And that one happens Tuesday, April 14th at 9:30 a.m. And the same guy with cerebral palsy signed it. God, you got to work on that signature, fella. All right. Failure to obey the commands of the subpoena or to appear at the stated time and place may subject you to penalty for contempt of court. Well, I don't want that to happen. Hell no. I am looking forward to this, whatever this is, between these two hillbillies. I don't think they're hippies. So part of the reason why I'm telling you that is because next Thursday I will be late because I'll be here. Now, is this the type of thing that I have to dress up? I think I should. I think that that's a thing. Like if you're appearing in this scenario, you don't want to be like wearing what I'm wearing right now. Or like that guy on that video a couple months ago, that cop who had no pants on. And, but I don't know if the backdrop behind me is appropriate. Hopefully I can like blur the screen because I don't want dogs in the background. Alan says you should wear that sweatshirt. David says, no, do not wear that sweatshirt. Now, so the first thing I said to the Italian is, I want to do a full breakdown on the show. He goes, no. Lay low. And I'm like, well, this is the most low I can lay. Okay, I am going to talk about it to some degree. I got to keep the fire stoked. Linda, who knows everything there is to know about court proceedings, she says, yep, and address the judge if there is one as sir or ma'am. Oh, no, I would say your honor. Big Buddha says, are you on Hillbilly Team A or B? That's the thing. I am not on either side of these Team Hillbillies. It's one hillbilly. It has a problem with the other hillbilly, as I understand it. I would not be surprised if someone involved in what I just shared with you is actually taking part in this show right now. So I'm going to do what I'm going to help the process, okay? I'm looking forward to it. Alan says, change your screen name to Butt Effer 3000. Stevie says, do you know either of said hillbillies? Yes, I guess is the only appropriate answer. Donko says, are these Zaniacs? No. Nick says, are the hillbillies from Dorr, Michigan? I do not know. Murder Lover Linda says, full-on Eric Zaitunian. That's 100% correct. And I think, though, you have to mix in some Eric Zane in order to get the full charm. We all know that my captivating appearance alone is enough to make anybody become a fan of EZ. Let alone the words that I use and the pace at which I deliver them. I am excited about this. Cole says, is it, and that's Cole in Colorado Springs, says, is this Stalkerito? No. Badger says, does it involve Thor Motor Coach? I can't say. I cannot say anything. All right. So that is kind of bubbling under. I'm waiting to hear back from the Italian because, and I'm like, God damn it, what the fuck do I pay you for? Can you at least just respond? I literally wrote, what do I do now? You know, that's the type of thing where you want to have, I guess, an attorney with you. Because if you speak, sometimes they'll ask you a question. And you may not want to answer that. Or you may not have to answer that. Cole in Colorado says, it is Thor Motor Coach. Big Buddha says, that's a yes on the fraud bus. Now, I'm not going to say either way who it is or what it is. Donut Dan says, it would be hilarious if you used your old radio voice from the city of Warren. All right. I do know that this is going to cost me some money because fuckface, the Italian, has to spend time with me on the actual thing next Thursday so that he can, object or say, don't answer that. Objection, Your Honor! And then in April, he has to join me again, and that means I got to pay for fucking travel over here, buy him lunch, have him sit his ass down and scream objection every 5 minutes. Objection, Your Honor! So that's what he's going to do. Anyway, that's what's up, and I wanted to share that with you. Honestly, I didn't think I was going to say a word about this, but when I get down to it, I've got 2 hours to fill. Yesterday was the State of the Union. And I did not watch a bit of it, but true to form, all the world was talking about this because of the State of the Union has turned into an absolute three-ring circus. And I'm kind of glad. It's entertaining. You had the one guy, the member of Congress, the black guy with the cane, who looks like a black vampire. And he was holding up a sign that said, "Black people aren't apes." Which, you know, I really wish that didn't happen. That Trump did not, Al Green is his name, did not post that fucking video of the Obamas as apes. It was such bullshit. The ABC News did a key takeaways from the State of the Union. Let's check that out.
Is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before.
President Trump delivering the longest State of the Union speech in history, 1 hour and 48 minutes, declaring the golden age of America, touting his immigration crackdown, foreign policy, and the economy.
The cost of chicken, butter, fruit, hotels, automobiles, rent is lower today than when I took office by a lot.
Trump blaming Democrats for inflation, saying they suddenly started using the word affordability.
They just used it. Somebody gave it to them, knowing full well that they caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure.
This as an ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll shows 57% of voters disapprove of how Trump is handling the economy.
By the way, we've been seeing those types of polls forever. I mean, pick a person who's been in office. I don't ever remember seeing one that says so-and-so has 75% approval rating. I think the only time that we had that where it was a high approval rating for a sitting president was that moment in time when the Twin Towers fell and then George W. Bush climbed to the pile of the rubble with body parts all around him. And he grabbed that megaphone and said, "I hear you, and the folks are going to knock these buildings down. They're going to hear from you tomorrow," or some shit. Instantly, he was at 100% approval rating. That's all you got to do. And he was horrible. He was a horrible president. And but because he said, "I hear you," and he had that great moment, and then it was like the movie Independence Day. And instantly, he became a legend, but he was a huge pile of shit.
Also announcing a new ratepayer protection pledge from tech companies to ensure those massive data centers don't raise electricity bills.
They can build their own power plants as part of their factory so that no one's prices will go up.
Tech companies so far.
That's got to be a move that everybody can get behind that. You know, because that's like the new thing that everybody hates is these data centers. Because of the whatever it is that they do that affects the lives of the people in the communities where they are built.
Are not confirming they've agreed to the pledge. The president also criticizing the Supreme Court's ruling striking down his sweeping global tariffs, claiming countries want to keep the deals they struck.
If the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern-day system of income tax.
Trump blamed immigrants in Minnesota for corruption.
Where members of the Somali community have pillaged an estimated $19 billion from the American taxpayer.
Saying Vice President Vance will lead a new war on...
I don't even know if any of this shit is true.
abroad.
I don't even give a shit if it is.
Also focusing on securing the border and stopping the flow of drugs into the U.S.
We're not going back. Today, our border is
This is
secure.
the guy, Al Green.
Also focused
That's him being escorted
on
out.
security abroad, saying he wants to solve the problem with Iran using diplomacy.
I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let
That led to a
happen.
standing ovation from both Republicans and Democrats. But the night was not without controversy. Representative Al Green stood in the chamber with a banner reading, "Black people aren't apes."
It's unfortunate for Al Green here in this picture. As you see, his hand is covering the A in aren't. So the sign looks like black people rent apes. Someone needed to tell him, hey, you're covering up the A. So now it looks like black people are renting apes. Hey, let's go rent an Airbnb and some apes. Way to go, Al. You made the goddamn sign and you covered the A.
Referring to a video Trump shared portraying the Obamas as apes, more than 70 Democrats boycotted the speech, some attending a People's State of the Union protest at the National Mall.
Oh,
Virginia
God.
Governor Abigail Spanberger delivered the Democrats' response, blaming the president's tariffs for rising costs.
Is the president working to make
Snooze.
life more affordable for you and your family? We all know the answer is no.
Both sides trying to appeal to voters ahead of the midterms, with primaries in several states next week.
Democrats understand that they have to meet the moment, and that
All right, I'm bored. Cole says he should have put handles on the back of the sign like a shield. Al Green there. Yeah, he fucked that up. Tofus says Al Green has a lot of balls. Bread Bowl Brain Chris takes exception with that chick who just spoke. I don't even know her name. Who did her own State of the Union. He wrote, well, what the F are you doing to help? And then he calls her a stupid bitch. Fuck. All right. I need to back up on these comments. Bread Bull Brain Chris says you can get a pull to back anything you want. Donko says, or like a really high approval rating for voter ID across both parties. Donut Dan says no new taxes. LOL. Cole in Colorado Springs says I have an idea for the crowd. Why not mix them up together instead of Democrats over here and Republicans over there? Show we're all one. Yeah, but that's no fun. I like it the way it is. Badger says a stimulus check will buy my vote. Tofus says the number one sponsor of terrorism is right here or right there. What are you talking about? You can't just throw shit out there. That's not true at all. Are you suggesting Trump is a terrorist? Donut Dan says this is the second year in a row for Al Green to get kicked out, I think. Yeah, he got kicked out last year, that guy. This year, he got kicked out for the sign, Black People Rent Apes. Cole in Colorado Springs says, fuck all that bullshit. Bring out the hockey team. Badger says, we all remember the $4 gas. All right. I want to see a cage match between the oldest members of each party. The U.S. Olympic hockey team was there, all those bros, and they were like in the aisles. I don't think they had like seats. Was a lot of them. The goalie, Connor Hellebuck of the Winnipeg Jets, Trump announced that Connor Hellebuck is going to get the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my whole life. Trump doesn't even know who this guy is, and he's giving him I thought the Presidential Medal of Freedom goes to, like, people in combat who do amazing things, you know? Picture, like, that guy in that movie, Heartbreak Ridge, who, he wouldn't carry a gun. It was against his religious beliefs. So, like, he went and, like, rescued all the guys that were shot. That's who gets, like, a Presidential Medal of Freedom. Or, like, Pat Tillman. Give him a Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously. After the military said that he was killed by the Taliban, when, in fact, his own comrades killed him. That guy needs a Presidential Medal of Freedom. Alan says it's the highest civilian honor. Okay, well, then that would take the war heroes out, I guess. It's a civilian honor. And I was going to say it, but Nick got to it before I did. Since Trump started handing those things out like fucking M&Ms, it's to me, it's watered down now. Rush Limbaugh got one. If you give Rush Limbaugh a Presidential Medal of Freedom, that to me means that everyone after it is shit. You don't give the fucking hockey goalie a Presidential Medal of Freedom. Badger says Al Green is not the face of the Democrats. Why do his counterparts let him act like an idiot? Look, I don't have a problem with Al Green making a sign that says black people aren't apes. Why would you have a problem with that? There is nothing wrong. If you're a black guy and the president says that one of the previous presidents who is black and his wife are apes, you don't think that that's a good thing to call him out on that? You asshole. What kind of fucking idiot are you? Of course he did the right thing by having the sign that said black people aren't apes. That's a great thing to do. That takes fucking balls. You want that guy. If anybody can call out Trump, it'd be a person in the chambers who's black. You can't give a guy a hard time because he feels like he was slighted. He's representing all black people there, you idiot. Now, look, you got to understand something here. Trump's a fuck up, and he totally fucked up big time by calling the Obamas apes. It was horrible. But that doesn't matter. It does not matter at all. If you think about it, all the things that Trump has done, he has made it very, very difficult to be indicted for anything that he says or does, because he just continuously does crazy shit that people don't care about anymore because he does it so much. It's brilliant. He can do anything. Like a day before the election, the audio of him talking about grabbing a chick by the pussy came out, and he won. Nobody cares. He's talking about how he likes to sexually assault women on a hot mic. And everybody's like, well, I don't know. That might be taken out of context. Nick says he was held liable in court for rape and no one even cares. Exactly. All he has to say is, it was a kangaroo trial. It was a hoax. That's all he has to say. And people buy that shit. Big Buddha says in 2016, the president gave away over 20 of them. Michael Jordan got one. Ellen got one. Bill Gates, Lorne Michaels. The award has been watered down since its inception. Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't aware. To me, it sounded very official and pristine-like. Maybe I'm getting that mixed up with the Congressional Medal of Honor. Whatever. So Hellebuck gets the stupid thing. Cole, who's kind of a caveman, says some girls like being grabbed by the pussy. Well, I don't know. I think that's I think you're a fucking idiot, frankly. Let's see. Let me back up. There's a lot of back and forth in the chat. Red Bull Brain Chris says, why would Springsteen be okay but not Limbaugh? Oh, Springsteen got it too. No, that's a great point. Why would Springsteen be okay but not Limbaugh? No, that's a very good point. Charlie Kirk got it. Yeah, you don't want to say anything bad about Charlie Kirk getting it. Black Belt Nick says Limbaugh's influence on the country was worth it. He changed the country for better or worse. Well, you don't want. I doubt they're going to give it to him. Hey, you've really changed the country for the worse. I mean, on the bad side. So we're giving you a medal. Tophus says that Rush Limbaugh was a piece of shit. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think anybody, and I don't think any of these people deserve an award. None of them. It's a dumb award. Maureen says because Bruce is the boss and Limbaugh is a dick. I don't know about that. Of course, Obama is half white. Maybe that's what the apes were referring to. No, I don't know. Black Belt Nick says, I said better or worse. His influence was immeasurable. Red Bull Brain Chris said Springsteen is a piece of shit that divides the country. Well, I can't say that either. He says, you know what he says? He's a liberal. That would mean that every liberal divides the country, and then conversely, every Republican would divide the country. The only person that doesn't divide the country, we all know, is me. If the Republicans do something that's excellent, I love it. I'm all about it. If they do something that's fucking crazy, I don't like that, and I call them out on it. Same thing for the other side. I'll say this. What Trump has accomplished since he took office again has been a series of like setbacks and victories. There hasn't been one or the other where it's like, I mean, there hasn't been like no middle, there hasn't been any middle ground. There's been, yeah, that was great, and that was shitty. Like calling the Obamas apes, that was horrible. Sneaking into Venezuela and getting that fucking asshole, that's a win. Red Bull Brain Chris says, I was paraphrasing Tophus. I got you. Donut Dan says, I think some of these awards are just given out to piss off the other side. Can you imagine if you had, like, for example, Trump is in office and he started giving away this award to people that are arch enemies. Like if he gave one away to, if Greta Thunberg lived in the U.S. or was an American and he gave one to her, that would be just like him to do that. Badger says, it's a term of endearment. If a woman said that she wanted to grab my dick, I'd take it as a compliment. Yeah, I get what you're saying there, but I don't think it works the other way around. I'm just saying that if I was hanging out with the ladies on this show and I said, hey, Linda, I'm thinking that she wouldn't go, oh, you, ooh, that's awesome. I love that. I don't think that would happen if I made that proclamation. I'll tell you this, though. You're right. If I'm hanging out with a bunch of chicks and they go, hey, EZ, I really want to grab your dick, I'd probably be quite sheepish about that and somewhat embarrassed. But, you know, I'm not going to get mad at you or feel bad. I'm going to be like, yeah, hey, yeah, I still got it. It's because men are goddamn animals. Women have so much more to offer the world intellectually and emotionally. They're more stable. They make better decisions. That's why whenever I am making any big decision, I need a woman on the phone. I'm not even shitting you. Linda will back me up. I have called Linda and said, hey, I need to run something by you. Like if Pooh Bear is in the classroom, like, hey, I need to talk to you. I can't. Call Linda. Okay. I call Linda. I call Megan. And they're like, Pooh Bear is like obviously the queen bee, but these two are the hands. Hey, I got to run something by you. It's because I'm all fucked up. I can't do that. I can't think. I'm a reactionary fuck. Tophus says women use logic, men are emotional messes. That's precisely what I was indicating there. Yeah, guilty. Come on now. Donut Dan says, heck yes, women are great voices of reason in many instances. Us men want to fly off the handle more than the ladies. Yeah, because we've got this ego thing. Just choose on all of our reactions. That's how we want to, And so I'm like, hey, honey, what do you think about? And she's like, and if she goes, then I'm like, oh, that's not right. That's a bad thing. Donko agrees, but then says they're still terrible drivers. No, you're right. Something about them that they're miserable at driving. And you know what also is true? Not only are they miserable at driving, but too often they don't agree with that. They'll be like, no, I am. I'm good. I'm a good driver. No, you're not. Because you have a vagina. You're not wired for that. I don't know if you don't have the strength to handle the steering wheel or what. But I don't know what makes you think that getting 1 inch from the bumper of the car in front of you is somehow going to make you get to your destination faster. How can you not process the fact that whether you're 1 inch behind the vehicle in front of you or you're 10 car lengths back, you're still going the same speed? How is that? Yeah, well, then someone's going to get in front of me. Well, then you just back off. That's it. Why is that? Why can you not process that? Why are you so shitty at this? You see, I have, I can talk shit about these things because I've insulated myself. I've talked to you about how superior women are logically and emotionally. But when it comes to this particular skill set, you're garbage. You're awful. You're a goddamn detriment to society. You're dangerous. David says, if they can't process that, how can you say women use logic? Okay, well, then I guess it's an asterisk. They use logic except when it comes to this particular thing. Somehow when they get behind the wheel. I talked about this before, but it was snowing like crazy out here. And Jacqueline calls up Mom and says, hey, can you let our dog out? Now, Jacqueline lives 35 minutes away. And I can hear the conversation. And I go, no, you aren't leaving. And Jackie's like, why? I said, because she can't drive when it's dry pavement. She can't drive on that, let alone snowy conditions. Nick in Houston says Free Bear and Hot Wings and Zane would probably still be together if Diana hadn't greased Chris's truck. You know, this has been started and stopped many, many times. It's not known who hit Hot Wings' truck. We don't know that. All right. On this Subpoena Wednesday, always making time for my sponsors. By the way, I have a new sponsor starting March 15th who they want to cut your lawn. And they're going to be great. I cannot wait to tell you about my friends at Zelensky Outdoor Services. All right. But as always, thanks again to Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid, and EV. The great team over at Irvine's making life easy for you when it comes to getting your car repaired. You can check them out online, ervines.com. That's ervines.com. Hang on a second. I got to read a text. It just came through. And when I see something that says we have a situation here concerning my dad, I got to check on it. Hang on. Okay. I got to run, folks. I got a situation. Everything's fine, I think. In fact, I don't know that. Everyone is alive, but something is happening. So I got to go. I appreciate you so much.